My dear colleagues, I remain Sani Zorro from Jigawa State. I represent Gumel, Gagara, Wasule, and Megatari Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, mine also is to commend the vigilance of the House, specifically through the motion raised by Honorable Chukwuemeka Uja. I say vigilance because, Honorable Ahmed Erima has also observed, there has been an onslaught on public enterprises in this country by parasites and agents who apparently are acting more in the interest of predator companies, both within and outside of the country, than acting in the national interest. This is not the first time that they will launch such an onslaught to take over a public enterprise that has served to unify the country for a long time. They have illegally launched an attempt to take over refineries. That one was resisted. They have been coming with all sorts of arguments to take over the remaining public assets in this country. Now, we call them parasites because they have the option of establishing their own similar ventures if they are indeed venture capitalists. But you will discover that time and again, over a long period of time, these so-called Nigerian businessmen keep arguing that government has no business in business, and therefore these enterprises should be sold to them. But we all know that post-privatization, all these companies have been tottering because of collapse of one, there is no corporate governance, there is no mechanism of monitoring them, and they have always engaged in either stripping the assets of such companies, like it has happened in Ajakuta Steel Company, so many of the motor manufacturing and assembly plants that we have had that were converted into huge silos and warehouses for storage of rice and so on. And therefore, it is very, very important, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, to resist the illegality that public officers, especially in the executive arm of government, want to foist on the nation. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, we can recall the intervention or the invitation extended to the Rights of India, which came to manage our railway corporation in the 1970s. It was able, although at that time there was no parliament, and probably we may not be able to come up with the guidelines or the terms under which Rights of India was invited, and it came, intervened, and delivered. But this time around, we are not sure. I personally am not aware that General Electric is into management and running of railways. But I do know that it's a heavy industry that is into production of heavy industrial equipment all over the world, but not in the management of railways. But the most important point here made is that this particular transaction being contemplated by these agents of multinational companies and other predators has totally sidelined due process, and this should not be acceptable. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, once more I commend the vigilance of the mover of this motion and this parliament for detecting yet another attempt at giving away a public corporation, especially illegally. Thank you very much.